this, I've heard this somewhere else. Like, this is, and some of them I knew exactly where the quote came from.
Well, you're unrelated. What is it about me that made you think I want to be relatable? It's big sister here, big sister here, big sister here, and big sister here.
You know it's like, right?
Hey little sisters. Hey guys, big sister here. Hey guys, big sister here, and it's big sister here. Big sister here. Hey guys, big sister here. Guys, big sister here. Guys, big sister here. Hey guys, big sister here. No sis, literally everything I do in my life is to live a life that most people can't relate to. My life is relatable to most people. I'm doing it wrong.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Blanca and I create content revolving around motherhood, military, and anti-MLM. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Today's video, we are going to be discussing the new debacle surrounding Rachel Hollis. There's never any shortage of scandals or debacles with this person, so let's just dive right in. Rachel Hollis is an American author, motivational speaker, and blogger, most notably known for her two books, Girl Wash Your Face and Girl Stop Apologizing. She really should have just titled those books Girl Stop Plagiarizing and Stop Being an Embarrassment, because that's really what she is known for and what she's heavily criticized. I never understood the hoopla about her, never really got into her. I'm not really into the whole self-help genre, so maybe that's why I just never really found the appeal. I just thought that she was not authentic as she was trying to be or put out in her content. It always felt like it was curated, very fabricated. The fact that she promotes a lot of toxic positivity, the whole thing about promoting and supporting MLMs, not so much now, and we'll get into that later. And then there's the whole thing about like her Rise conferences or Rise Together conferences that she used to hold with her husband, or now ex-husband, I don't know. There's a lot with her that can be very polarizing and controversial. Those specific conferences were geared towards married couples, and it was sort of like a marriage retreat counseling type of deal where these couples would go on a 2-day conference, pay thousands upon thousands of dollars, not including hotel and airfare, get marital advice from them, do activities, all the while she and her husband were separated and getting a divorce. Like, if that's not scammy, I don't know what is. Rachel Hollis is highly polarizing. There's two spectrums. Either you love and are obsessed with her, or you just dislike her and want nothing to do with her. She's had several scandals, of which have been covered by fabulous content creators here on YouTube, such as Savvy Writes Books, Mooncat, hopefully I'm pronouncing her channel name right, Cruel World, Happy Mind, and Camellia. There's plenty of others who have also covered her scandals and her problematic ways. I will link these ladies' channels down below so you can check out their videos and their channel as well. Rachel has plagiarized a lot of authors and a lot of people's work. Most notably, she got ripped a new one last year when she decided that it would be cute to plagiarize Maya Angelou. Really? Maya Angelou? You thought nobody was going to notice that you were going to take her words and use them as your own? Come on, we cannot be this naive. Maya Angelou isn't the only author that she has plagiarized. It is said that she also took words from Mark Twain.
Comparison is the death of joy.
Comparison is the death of joy. Not only is comparison the death of joy, comparison is the death of momentum.
Yeah, that's from Mark Twain.
In Eleanor Roosevelt, and the list goes on. It is also alleged that she plagiarized the titles of her books from another author in Canada. So I'm wondering if Rachel Hollis has any ounce of originality in her at this point. I will link also the Buzzfeed articles and this Christian website who also has this article about all of the things that she has plagiarized. It not only encompasses the fact that she's plagiarized authors, but also even like her captions on Instagram are plagiarized. Like, what in the world? Other scandals include supporting MLM businesses, and while technically it's not a scandal, it is troublesome that she was supporting these types of businesses. Now it has been reported that in her new book, Didn't See It Coming, literally didn't see it coming, that she was going to come out and speak against MLM businesses. And I think somewhere in that book, I'm going to be paraphrasing here, she says something along the lines of, do not buy their starter kits, it's your own fault that you got into these businesses and aren't making any money. This caused a lot of MLM reps to be angry with her. And if I'm being honest, rightfully so, because she has been the type of person that these MLMs use and bring to their conferences to give a motivational speaking and just to motivate them to join and keep going in their MLM. She has notably been at conferences for Arbonne, Beachbody, and I believe other MLMs, but most notably, like I said, for Arbonne and Beachbody. And so to hear that at first you're supporting MLMs and saying that they're good businesses, because at the time they're probably making you a lot of money. They were probably paying you thousands upon thousands of dollars to go and give your motivational speaking at these conferences, to now saying that it is your own fault that you're not making any money in these MLMs. Like, I can see why these girls are mad. It's a slap in their face, essentially. In Spanish, we have a saying for this, Rachel Hollis, tú tienes una cara dura. That just means that she is just shameless. She has no shame to go from supporting MLMs to now saying that it's your own fault, you're not making any money from these business practices, is quite ridiculous. And then there's also the fat shaming. She has said in one of her books, I believe, and again, I will be paraphrasing, that you can't trust a fat person because they aren't trustworthy and have no morals. I did not know that your weight was a prerequisite for being a trustworthy person and having morals. Those are the two things that, in my opinion, Rachel Hollis lacks. She is not trustworthy and definitely doesn't have any morals if you're supporting businesses like that. And then on top of it all, shaming people for things that is probably out of their control. There's a lot of things that can be taken into consideration as to why people can't lose weight. There are people who have medical conditions that either prohibit them from gaining weight or from losing weight. So this is coming from a person that is spreading body positivity. It's the toxic positivity for me. Which brings us to the most recent scandal. Rachel Hollis decided that it was cute, that she really did something with this TikTok video, and let's just play it so you guys can see.
There's a sweet woman who comes to my house twice a week and cleans. She's my house cleaner. She cleans the toilets. Someone commented and said, "You are privileged AF." And I was like, you're right. I'm super freaking privileged, but also I worked my ass off to have the money to have someone come twice a week and clean my toilets. And I told her that, and then she said, "Well, you're unrelatable." What is it about me that made you think I want to be relatable? No, sis, literally everything I do in my life is to live a life that most people can't relate to. Most people won't work this hard. Most people won't get up at 4 a.m. Most people won't fail publicly again and again just to reach the top of the mountain. Literally every woman I admire in history was unrelatable. If my life is relatable to most people, I'm doing it wrong.
There's a lot to unpack from that 30-second TikTok video. She honestly thought that she did something with that. Nobody was coming for you because you have a housekeeper or because you were comparing yourself to some amazing women in history such as Harriet Tubman, RBG, Malala, Frida Kahlo. In and of itself, those two things can be very problematic. But people were coming for you, and you totally missed the point on it, because you said that you didn't want to be relatable to anybody, and that if you were relatable to somebody, that you were doing it wrong. It's the fact that you're no longer relatable to a majority of your own audience. The fact that you gaslight your own followers, you lie to them. You say that you work harder than anybody on this planet. Meanwhile, there are certain jobs that are definitely way harder than what you do. It's the fact that you rarely mention that the only reason, well, not the only reason, but it's a huge part of the reason that you were able to solely focus on your business is because you had a husband who was a Disney executive at the time, having a stable income, bringing in good money, so that you can focus solely on your business. You didn't have to worry about feeding your family and paying bills. Other people do not have that luxury. Something that I found problematic was the fact that she kept referring to her housekeeper as somebody that just cleans her toilets, which is something that most people tend to find gross and disgusting. So I don't know what you were trying to do there, but it definitely came off condescending and that you felt superior to this person, when in reality nobody is superior to anyone. And just because you run a business and this person cleans your house doesn't mean that you're better than that person. Comparing yourself to Harriet Tubman, Malala, Frida Kahlo, and RBG, these women have achieved greatness and have done great things for society and has made it just a little bit better. RBG was one of the few women in her time to go to Harvard Law in a time where not many women were going to college, especially to Harvard. And she became an attorney, something that, again, not many women were doing in her time. And she ended up being one of the Supreme Court justices. She not only brought equality for women, but also for men. Harriet Tubman was born into slavery and freed herself. She well could have decided to not do what she did, which was free other slaves and put her life at risk, but she instead did so. Malala got shot in the head because she wanted to go to school. Frida Kahlo is famous for her self-portraits that made people question post-colonialism and explore the ideas of identity, gender, race, and class within the Mexican culture. She was somebody that pushed against social norms, okay? She dressed in pants most of the time. She was somebody that acted masculine and didn't give a shit about what society had to say about what she was doing and how she dressed. What makes you think that you have done 1/4 of what these women have contributed to society? What is your legacy going to be, Rachel Hollis? Somebody that supported shady business practices such as MLMs, or somebody that has plagiarized other people's work and claimed it as your own? Within her TikTok video, she mentions people aren't willing to work hard enough, wake up at 4 a.m. and have a rigorous morning routine. It's the fact that she's promoting and glamorizing hustle culture, which we know can be extremely detrimental to not only people's physical but mental health as well. It's the fact that she's making it seem that in order to have financial success, or she's equating that financial success only stems from hard work. If that were the case, then EMT workers, teachers, social workers, people who are working low skill or low paying jobs such as at a grocery store, or people who are working in the medical field right now during a pandemic would be paid as such. They would be making more money than anybody else. These types of jobs are arguably one of the toughest, both mentally and physically, and yet society doesn't view it as such. You had a head start and certain privileges that aren't afforded to many, if at all. I honestly cannot believe she had the audacity to say, if you find me relatable, then I'm doing it wrong. Isn't your entire brand based on the fact that you are relatable, that you have this relatability, that you're somebody's big sis? You posted a picture in 2015 celebrating your postpartum body with its stretch marks, cellulite, and anything that comes with it. People, women specifically, resonated and related to you because of that picture. It's why it went viral, because it was real and authentic. not this bullshit that you're doing and selling right now. People follow and subscribe to influencers because they find them relatable in some way, shape, or form. If you take the whole relatability component of your brand, what are you left with? What's the whole point and reason for people to follow you if you're not relatable? Certainly not for the content, because it's not you who's creating it. This TikTok video garnered a lot of attention, and rightfully so, because it is troublesome. And there were a lot of people calling you out in your comment section, both on the TikTok app and on Instagram where you reposted that video. And there were women on there calling you out. I will post their comments right here, but you decided that it would be the best idea to mute some of these women, specifically women of color and other minorities. You decided that it would be best to mute them and silence them so that you didn't have to hear their criticism about you and what you were saying. What these women were trying to do was educate you, Rachel Hollis, on why saying certain things that you said in your video, such as "no sis," can be deemed racist and condescending to other women. And instead of taking in that criticism and listening and putting the effort to better yourself, you decided to delete their comments. Now she's made this whole allegation or notion that it wasn't her, that she did not know that these ladies were being muted. And these ladies, I'm referring to, I think her name is Luvvie and Rachel Cargle. She did not know, she being Rachel Hollis, not know that their comments were being deleted, and other women of color and minorities. But how do you not know what's being deleted from your social media? Aren't you the one that's posting on there? And if it's not you that's posting on there and it's a team member, don't they have to come to you for approval before they post anything or before they do anything with your social media? And if they're not doing that, I would highly suggest that they do, because whatever is posted on your feed is a reflection of you and your brand. Several days passed and she ultimately ended up posting the quintessential typical influencer apology. Nowhere in that half-assed, fake-ass apology did she actually apologize, but instead threw her team under the bus yet again. She blamed her team for what was posted on her feed. And as I said earlier, if it's not you that's running your social media and it's a team member, they should be coming to you for approval. And if they're not coming to you for approval, then you should fix that. Because again, anything that is posted on your feed is a reflection of you and your brand. So wouldn't you want something to be posted on there to be the best reflection of you? I'll be reading this apology for you guys and I will post it up here on the screen. Someday I'll learn that my intent and my impact can be wildly different. I made a post last week that was upsetting to people, and even though that was never my intent, I own that it was, and I apologize. Was my post upsetting because I have someone who cleans my house twice a week? Nobody is shitting on you because you have a housekeeper. You can be rich or you can be middle class or whatever and have a housekeeper. That's not the issue. I've talked a lot about this over the years. I have a nanny. I have someone who helps with cleaning. I have a team at work who helps to build this business, and I think it's crucial that I keep talking about it. I could easily pretend that I don't have any assistance, which is true. She could easily pretend that she doesn't have any assistance. I know a lot of mommy vloggers who do this, who pretend that they can do it all and get it all done. Meanwhile, they outsource their laundry, have a housekeeper, and have all of these extra help that not every woman in America has. Again, the issue is not the fact that you have the money or the wealth or that you have help. It's the fact that you're presenting yourself as someone who is doing it all while not doing it all and making other moms or other people feel like shit for it. I'm sure it would make my brand more likable and certainly more relatable. There we go again. If I act like I achieve all of these things through hard work and organization. But that's bullshit. You don't have to have a clean house or help with your kids or a business with 25 employees. But if you see those things in my life and wonder how they got there, I want you to know that it's a group effort. It's a whole village, in fact. Was my post upsetting because I mentioned some of my favorite women in history? This one is even harder for me because those women are some of the most badass I could think of. Someone on my team said, I think people believe you are comparing yourself to them. Comparing myself to the first woman to win a Nobel Peace Prize, the first and only female monarch in the history of China, the most inspiring woman in American history, who freed herself and then risked her life repeatedly to lead others out of slavery. There is no comparison. I'm glad you know that there is no comparison between you and these women that you mentioned as your inspiration or that you admire. To believe that because I mentioned them, I am comparing myself to them is ludicrous. Do I aspire to be as brave, as fierce, to live my life on my own terms, hopefully inspire other women to do the same? Hell yes. But I cannot now or ever compare myself to those women, and I don't want to. I don't want to try to be the next fill in the blank. I'd like to try to be the first me. That was where things started, but because I haven't learned, I didn't respond to these things on Friday. When I heard that people were upset, I listened to my team instead of my gut. So, does your team run your business? Is your team paying you, or is it the other way around? I listened when they told me not to respond to let it blow over. I listened when they said would monitor the situation, which meant monitor comments. I woke up this morning to find that certain comments had been muted on my post, including some by Rachel Cargle and Luvvie, who are both women I admire so much, and if they want to tell me and the world I fucked up with something, we should all listen. She apologized, but not really apologized, and then gave 1,000,001 excuses, put in things that were irrelevant to what people were criticizing her for. It's just astounding. And I'm just gonna put this out here. It's not up to a Rachel Cargle, Luvvie, or any other women of color or other minorities to educate you, Rachel Hollis, on why things are considered racist and why certain things are problematic. You should take it upon yourself to learn these things because it's not women of color's obligation to teach you. But again, you don't take that criticism, you don't listen, and so here we are with the 10th apology that you've given for the same mistake that you have made over and over and over again. At this point, it is a pattern of behavior and not so much a mistake. By her deleting that video and the bullshit apology that she gave, you just really demonstrated that you don't care. You don't care to learn. You don't care to be educated. You don't care to put in the effort to make yourself a better person. You just can't be bothered with. And it was really telling when within that TikTok video, you did not allow it to be stitched or do it. But don't worry, Rachel Hollis, there are ways around it. People can still screen record that video or find apps that can actually save that TikTok. That to me just shows that you wanted to silence any criticism that you were going to get because you knew you were in the wrong. Rachel then proceeded to put up a new apology, which goes as follows. I'm not going to do this perfectly, but I am going to speak from my heart. I'm so deeply sorry for the things I said in my recent posts and the hurt I have caused in the past few days. I know I've caused tremendous pain in mentioning prominent women, including several women of color, whose struggles and achievements I can't possibly understand. By talking about my own success, I diminish the struggles and hard work of many people who work tirelessly every day. That you did. I disregarded the people whose hard work doesn't afford them the financial security, often due to inherently racist and biased systems. I did not allow a space for people to voice their anger, hurt, and disappointment, which caused even more pain. I acknowledge my privilege and the advantage I have as a white woman, no matter how I grew up. You had me until you said, no matter how I grew up. There are many things I would like to say to reiterate just how sorry I am. But the important thing for me to do now, something I should have done or already done, is honestly be quiet and listen. I know I have disappointed so many people, myself included, and I take full accountability. I am sorry. If you go in the comment section of this apology, you will find people who have the same sentiment as this person who commented. I did not see anything wrong with it, heart emoji. People are too sensitive. Nobody can say anything anymore without offending someone. I don't think you meant harm. That's now how I heard it. Must be hard being picked apart publicly. Keep being real. That's the whole point, that she doesn't want to be real, that she doesn't want to be relatable or authentic. There's not an ounce of real within Rachel Hollis. And when I read this post, honestly, it didn't offend me, so it shouldn't offend you either. And there was actually another comment on here that called this commenter out. And it says, it didn't affect me personally, so people must be oversensitive. Which I totally agree. Like, just because it doesn't affect you personally or it doesn't offend you doesn't mean that it doesn't offend and affect other people. I would like to mention a TikToker. Her name is Heather the Lawyer, and she has made several TikTok videos about this whole situation. I'm going to put in a couple of clips because I really do think she did a phenomenal job at dissecting the whole thing and going over why this whole thing with Rachel Hollis is just troublesome and why she just can't seem to learn or doesn't want to learn and better herself.
I saw something today, and let's talk. I'll play it.
What is it about me that made you think I want to be relatable?
Let's unpack this. So what is my problem with this? Rachel Hollis's entire brand was built off of being authentic and relatable. She sold books based off of it. She sold conference tickets based off of it. She has sold her entire brand, journals, books, anything you can think of, podcasts. She sold it all based off of being authentic and relatable. The problem that Rachel Hollis now finds herself in is she is no longer either of those things. She portrayed a life and a lifestyle in order to sell things, and now all of that has come crumbling down, and it's all her own fault. I actually even attended one of those conferences, and the majority of people I know that followed her don't anymore for those very reasons. So part 2. Now we find ourselves after the TikTok has been posted and she's getting backlash from everywhere. I think Buzzfeed picked it up and she stays silent. But prominent Black creators have spoken up. Rachel Cargle made a post on her Instagram. I'm not on Instagram a ton, so I just found this out this morning, but I'll throw the post up here. So what I gather happened is Rachel Hollis put the TikTok on her Instagram. Rachel Cargle posted this on that Instagram post that contained the TikTok. Rachel's team, or Rachel Hollis herself, went through her Instagram and started muting people, including Rachel Cargle. Like for part 3.
One thing that I do want to highlight is the racial aspect to this. And I know most of you are going to say Rachel Hollis didn't say anything racist. There was nothing racial about her TikTok. But I beg to differ. She herself admitted within the second apology that there is a racial aspect to it. And there's no better example than the fact that she plagiarized Maya Angelou's words without giving her any credit. And it's not just a Rachel Hollis issue. There have been other influencers, white influencers to be exact, who have ripped off ideas from Black content creators or other minorities and have repackaged their ideas, claimed it as their own, and made it more digestible for white audiences and to be able to make a profit off of that. A prime example of this is Charli D'Amelio and Addison Rae, who popularized the Renegade dance without giving the proper credit or recognition to the original creator, who is Jahliah Harmon. These two girls took this dance, tweaked it a little bit because it's highly different from the original dance. And that original creation from Jahliah Harmon is actually more badass and cooler than what these two ladies have been performing. And they were afforded opportunities that could have easily gone to Jahliah, like performing at, I believe it was like the NBA or something, and then going on the Jimmy Fallon show.
Go.
content creators create such phenomenal work and don't get the proper recognition or credit every single time. Another thing that I do want to note is the fact that a few of Rachel Hollis's ex-employees are speaking out against this whole TikTok video, stating that her first apology was just not good whatsoever, and they are also sharing their experience being employed by the Hollis company. A few of them have come out and stated that they thought that when they were being employed by the company, that they were going to just make some sort of impact in people's lives. They then came to realize that they were not in the business of changing people's lives, but that they were in the business of elevating one. And if that's not very telling or the best description of the self-help industry, I don't know what else to tell you. And there you have it, folks, the TikTok video that Rachel Hollis thought was a good idea, but in the end bit her in the ass. There was a whole litany of things that could potentially have ended her career prior to this TikTok. You had the whole internalized misogyny, the toxic positivity, the fatphobia, the capitalizing on women's insecurity, supporting pyramid schemes, plagiarizing other people's work. Just the list goes on. Do you think that she is actually going to learn from this? Do you think that she will bounce back from this particular scandal? Or do you think that she's just going to continue the same pattern of behavior? Let me know in the comments sections below. If you liked today's video, then give it a thumbs up. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!